After 2 months of Cold War and breakup with Jack, he still hasn't sent me a single message. I couldn't hold back and wanted to be the first to soften my stance, but that very day, I suddenly received a confession from Frank, a financially struggling student. I was about to reject him when suddenly a barrage of bullet comments flashed before my eyes. LOL, the female supporting character actually thinks Frank likes her. He just lost a dare with the female lead and had no choice but to confess. Poor male lead, just realizing his crush is pushing him towards someone else, and now he's about to be rejected by this gold-digging, snobbish campus belle. How heartbreaking. It's okay. Once he's recognized as part of the Lopez family in City B and becomes a billionaire, our female lead will take the initiative to reconcile with him. What? The Lopez family in City B? That super wealthy top billionaire. Nobody move, let's pause the reconciliation. This financially struggling student, I'll take them. I'm a gold digger, but I'm great at pretending, treating all my classmates equally and being extremely friendly. When it comes to dating and finding a man, my principles and bottom line must never waver. That is, he absolutely must be rich, yes, of course, and good-looking too. Jack is the person who best fits my standards among all 18 years of my academic life. His family runs a massive business, considered an old money elite. I've heard they're second only to the Lopez family, the wealthiest in City B, of course. As for families like the Lopezes, I wouldn't even dare to dream. Jack is aloof, arrogant, and overly particular. I pursued him for several months before he finally agreed to be my boyfriend, but after we got together, he often complained that I wasn't clingy or considerate enough. He would threaten to break up at the drop of a hat. Let's break up, you're only after me for my money anyway. Last time I saw you talking to the basketball team captain. Are you interested in him now? Don't be fooled by his McLaren, it's secondhand and barely worth anything. Block his contact right now, and I'll forgive you. There are countless situations like this. Now almost all the good-looking male classmates in my contacts have been monitored by him. 2 months ago, Jack had another argument with me. The reason was that I was 20 minutes late for his birthday. This shows you don't value me. You were never late for the grade meeting, so I must mean less to you than the dean. Let's break up, we both need some time to cool off. Here we go again. Is it the same thing? I'm not some privileged rich kid with family backing like him. Can I afford to casually offend the dean? Coincidentally, I was also feeling fed up at the time, so I simply went along with his words. Break up, then let's not stay in touch. That day, Jack's face turned pale. He stared at me for a long time before finally smashing a bottle of wine worth over $100,000 beside him. True enough, he never contacted me again after that. 2 months passed. I've calmed down now. There's no other way. Jack is truly the highest standard I can reach right now. Who doesn't love money? My family circumstances are average. My parents favor my younger brother, always thinking only of giving him the best things. I want to break free from this environment. But I'm not smart enough. Even if I studied with all my might, my grades only ranked around 70th or 80th in my grade. My greatest advantage was just this face. So what's wrong with using my looks to gain some advantages and fulfill my ambitions? Thinking this way, I immediately felt at ease. Just after school, Jack has been playing basketball every afternoon these days. I packed up my things and ran towards the basketball court. I planned to intercept him, soften up, act a little cute, clear the air, and quickly move past this. Just as I reached the entrance of the gymnasium, suddenly, someone unexpected called out my name. Frank, the renowned academic genius of our school. He consistently dominates the top spot in grade rankings, standing at 188 centimeters tall. He's exceptionally handsome and once narrowly defeated Jack in the school heartthrob competition. With one of those votes being cast by me, there was no other reason. It was simply that Frank's appearance perfectly matched my personal aesthetic preferences. My Libra traits kicked in, and I just gave him a fair and impartial vote. But other than that, Frank and I had almost no further interaction. He always kept to himself, hardly ever speaking a word to his classmates. Rumors said that someone once saw his mother picking up leftover vegetable leaves at the market. Others claimed his father had passed away early, and his grandmother had a severe illness, with hospitalization costs alone reaching hundreds of thousands a year. In short, Frank's family situation must have been quite tough. Every year he had to apply for the poverty-stricken student scholarship and work part-time jobs at milk tea shops and convenience stores outside campus to earn money. In the cafeteria, he would only order the cheapest 2 vegetarian dishes. Even girls couldn't eat their fill, let alone a boy his age. At my kindest moment, I once took 500 yuan from my allowance and secretly slipped it into his pencil case. No name was written. Now, at the entrance of the gymnasium, when Frank called out my name, my brows furrowed sharply. Could he have discovered that I gave him 500 yuan a few months ago? According to the tropes in those pseudo-literary novels, impoverished students from difficult family backgrounds are usually proud and have extremely strong self-esteem. He would definitely think I was deliberately trying to humiliate him. Coming at a time like this, "You're not here to pick a fight with me, are you?" Before I could even figure out how to retort, the next moment, Frank's words left me stunned. "Sarah, I like you. Will you be my girlfriend?" I'm stunned. The entrance of the gymnasium was bustling with people coming and going. I turned my head to look in the direction of the basketball court. I realized that Jack had already come out at some point without me noticing. He must have just finished playing basketball, with sweat still dripping from his forehead. Several of his buddies were gathered around him, all looking at us with great interest. They were openly discussing without any hesitation, "Hey, isn't that Jack's girlfriend?" "What girlfriend? Don't talk nonsense." "Ex-girlfriend. Ha ha ha, right, ex-girlfriend. But gotta say, Sarah's got some backbone this time. It's been 2 months. In the past, she'd have come crawling back by now. Could she really have found someone else?" Tsk, Frank, the top student from a poor family. "Jack, do you think Sarah will accept it?" Listening to their discussion, I felt really awkward. Subconsciously, I looked towards Jack. I wanted to give him a glance, to make sure he didn't misunderstand, but I realized he never once glanced in my direction the entire time. Just lazily dribbling the basketball in his hands, as if encountering something completely unrelated to himself, he smirked mockingly at the corner of his mouth. Laugh all you want. What does it have to do with me? Frank is so outstanding. For him to take a liking to Sarah, she's the one who's climbing the social ladder. My heart sank heavily. Actually, Jack doesn't really like me that much. It's just because I pursued him so persistently that he reluctantly accepted me. Agreeing to break up was probably a relief for him. This is good too. Not attempting reconciliation also preserved some dignity for me. Although I had no intention of getting back together with Jack, I wasn't ready to accept Frank's confession either. After all, in the 3 years of high school, I probably didn't even exchange 20 sentences with him, getting together so inexplicably. I don't think it's a very responsible thing for either of us. Just as I was about to refuse, suddenly, inexplicably, a barrage of bullet comments appeared before my eyes. Here it comes, the dramatic scene from the book. The male lead is about to confess to the female supporting character. Ha 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 ha, look at her expression. Does she really think Fu Whiting likes her? Actually, he just lost a dare with the female lead and had no choice but to confess. Sigh, poor male lead. He just realized his crush doesn't like him and is pushing him away. And now he's about to be rejected by this gold-digging, opportunistic female supporting character. How heartbreaking. It's okay. Once he's recognized by the wealthy Lopez family in City B and his net worth exceeds hundreds of millions, our female lead will take the initiative to reconcile with him. What? The Lopez family in City B? That super rich top billionaire. My heart suddenly leaped into my throat. I had heard some gossip about the Lopez family. Rumor has it that Mrs. Lopez's health was poor, and she only had one child. But due to business conflicts, that son was kidnapped when he was 4 or 5 years old, lost. There was never any news afterward. Over more than a decade, even as the business empire continued to expand, the Lopez family never gave up searching for any trace of the child. The barrage of comments keeps scrolling. Soon, just 3 more months before Frank gets taken back. The Lopez family is currently abroad for business negotiations. Once they encounter the kidnapper who fled back then in the UK and uncover the truth, they'll return to the country immediately. Our male lead won't have to suffer like this anymore. There are still 3 months left. Fortunately, I hadn't spoken the words of refusal yet. How could someone as money-loving as me give up such a golden opportunity to get close to wealth? I gently curved the corners of my eyes, revealing a nearly perfect smile. Okay, I agree, Frank. Because I was so shocked by the barrage of comments, I didn't notice at all. Behind me, Jack saw me nod, his face nearly pale, his fingers trembling uncontrollably. What? The supporting female character actually agreed. How is this possible? Wasn't she the most money-obsessed one? She only got with Jack for his money. Such a gold digger, according to the plot. She's supposed to regret it like crazy only after Frank returns to his wealthy family. Exactly. Besides, what are we supposed to do about Heather when she's like this? Heather, Frank's childhood sweetheart, also known as the female lead in the barrage comments. They say Heather made this bet with Frank, having him come confess to me, because she's now interested in the second male lead Jack, wanting to completely eliminate any possibility of me getting back together with Jack. In the original storyline, I didn't accept Frank, and Jack didn't agree to reconcile with me either. On the contrary, this pure and innocent childhood sweetheart was the first to comfort her childhood friend, although Frank didn't have any feelings for me beyond being classmates. But after all, it was the gymnasium. Being rejected after confessing in public inevitably brought some awkwardness and unease. Heather, the actual instigator, played the innocent victim at that time. She kept Frank on a string, offering him comfort and reassurance. Meanwhile, she spread malicious rumors about me, calling me a gold digger who looked down on the feelings of poor students and only cared about money. But behind the scenes, she herself secretly and subtly pursued Jack, until the male lead was found and brought back to his wealthy family. Only then did she finally relent and accept his feelings. The entire novel reached its final happy ending. I have to admit, this childhood friend of his is quite skilled in her methods. If she hadn't dragged me into this meaningless bet and then spread rumors about me afterward, perhaps the two of us could have even become friends, but not anymore. I couldn't possibly rush to get close to someone who harbors ill will toward me. I glanced toward the corner. Heather was clearly surprised when she heard me agree. Her expression froze momentarily, but soon, a somewhat gleeful expression appeared as she glanced over at Jack. There had always been rumors at school. They said I was the one who pestered Jack into dating me, and that he had long been utterly fed up inside. Now that he's finally completely free, he must be really happy, right? But as I stepped forward and took Frank's hand, a gasp suddenly rose from the crowd. Jack violently threw the basketball to the ground. With an expressionless face, he pushed through the crowd and walked out without saying a word. His brothers chased after him while frowning and apologizing to the classmates who were shoved aside. Sorry, we're in a bit of a hurry. Don't be mad, Jack's in a great mood. He looks too fierce. Maybe he didn't enjoy the game enough just now. Ha ha ha. Stop asking. We've got things to do and need to catch up with him quickly. Bye. Sarah, are you really going to accept my confession as the male protagonist of the whole incident? Frank's expression should be the most bewildered. I grabbed Frank's wrist and pulled him out of the crowd of onlookers, and he still seemed somewhat incredulous. Softly, unconsciously, he confirmed with me once more, we've barely spoken. I always thought you didn't even know who I was. Frank pursed his lips, casting a somewhat self-conscious glance to the side. I can understand why he feels that way. Every class has its own tight-knit groups, because I used to date Jack. My social circle was mostly filled with wealthy second-generation heirs. Frank always sat in the back row, quiet and reserved. The only person he ever exchanged a few words with was his childhood friend Heather, who had been in the same class since elementary school. The barrage of comments also sighed in unison. Yeah, the male lead and the supporting female character are just not on the same path at all. Actually, Frank didn't really want to confess in the first place. He felt that joking around with a game like Truth or Dare, whether Sarah agreed or not, was a bit too disrespectful. It was Heather who kept insisting and even jokingly threatened to cut ties. He had no choice but to go through with it. What's the meaning of this? Are they really trying to blame the little sister for this? Isn't it because the female side character acted strangely and agreed for no reason? Ugh, this is so annoying. Just clear things up already. I came here to see the sweet interactions between the male and female leads. Don't let the side character actually steal the romance. Frank lowered his head and clenched his palms. After a long while, it seemed he had finally made a decision. Classmate Sarah, he let out a soft sigh and gave me an embarrassed glance. Actually, you might not understand the reason behind today's confession, but it's because, before he could finish, I already knew. Frank was definitely about to reveal the truth about the dare. Once the misunderstanding is cleared up, how can things proceed afterward? Scheming as I am, I absolutely can't let such a thing happen. I put on an expression as if I've just realized something and quickly interrupt Frank's words. You actually thought I hadn't heard of you, Frank. What do you usually think about? Do you know how famous you are at school? With just one sentence, Frank was left speechless. He coughed and instinctively repeated it. Me, famous, sigh. After all, he's an academic genius. Frank is really too insecure. Why does he have so little confidence in his status at school? I nodded slightly and took a step forward. I held his hand, replying in a very serious tone. Yes, Frank, you're amazing. Do you know how many people in class envy your grades and want to be friends with you? For example, me. No matter how hard I try, it feels like I can only catch up to half of your pace. I lowered my head, deliberately pretending as if I had suddenly remembered something. I exclaimed, speaking of which, I once put some money in your pencil case just to get to know you. It wasn't much, only 500. Back then, you always ate so little in the cafeteria, and I thought maybe you could use it to buy yourself some snacks. Frank, you wouldn't blame me, would you? I really mean no harm. From these few minutes of interaction, and the rapidly scrolling real-time comments, I could already sense it. Frank wasn't at all what I initially imagined. He's actually not a petty person who nitpicks and fears others looking down on him everywhere. If I tell him about this 500 yuan, perhaps he wouldn't be angry, but instead, it might bring the two of us closer. Who knows? As expected, after hearing what I said, he was stunned at first, then his eyes lit up. It's you, so it was you, Sarah. Who left that money? You really helped me out big time. You know, during that period, my grandmother happened to fall ill, and the medical and hospitalization fees added up to several thousand yuan. Though it might not sound like much, it truly was a difficult situation for us. Your 500 yuan happened to relieve our family's urgent need. This was something I hadn't anticipated. A small act of kindness from back then actually had such a significant impact. Seeing Frank and me laughing happily together now, many live comments couldn't stay calm. One after another, they started roasting us. What's this? Why did the female supporting character bring up that 500 yuan incident? The male lead searched for that person who helped him for so long, and he had clearly given up in the end. So annoying. She was supposed to be the villainess, but now she's acting like some white moonlight. I'm going crazy. Don't panic. Heather is the real white moonlight. Okay, if the female lead tells the male lead that no one likes him, drives away everyone willing to help him, and then stays by his side alone, isn't this the so-called white moonlight? Frank, oblivious to all this, relaxed completely. He curved his lips slightly at me and gave a soft chuckle. His voice was low. I'm really grateful to you, Sarah. Maybe this sounds a bit presumptuous, but is there anything I can do for you? I looked at him and smiled too. If I didn't know why I put those $500 in your pencil case back then when you confessed to me, I think I understood. Actually, I must have already had some feelings for you, since we're in a relationship now. Frank, you don't have to call me Miss Sarah anymore. Call me Sarah, boyfriend. The next moment, Frank's face turned red. After I vaguely expressed my feelings for Frank, he never mentioned the truth or dare game again. Instead, he dutifully took on the role of my boyfriend. I said I wasn't good at math, so he stayed up late reviewing my past exam papers, analyzing the types of questions I often got wrong. The next day, he came to the classroom and meticulously broke down the concepts for me, explaining each point in detail. I said that couples should spend a lot of time together every day and maintain distance from the opposite sex. He actually stopped going to and from school with that childhood friend of his, and even saved me a seat when we went to the cafeteria. Frank, though not particularly eloquent, he compensates with obedience, understanding, and gentleness, and knows to correct his mistakes. After spending a few days together, I'm generally quite satisfied, so I've grown increasingly fond of being with him and have become more accustomed to him explaining problems to me. The result was one particular day. I forgot which day of the week it was, after a monthly exam. When he had once again gone over the test paper with me, Frank and I walked out of the teaching building. It was almost 9 o'clock, and the school was nearly empty. Frank was carrying 2 backpacks alone, still muttering about the physics laws he had just reviewed. I watched his little mouth chattering non-stop. I don't know what's going on. Suddenly, I felt an inexplicable urge to reach out and touch it. I hadn't even touched it yet. Suddenly, a furious roar came from behind. Sarah. What are you doing? I turned around. I saw Jack. Speaking of which, since that unpleasant parting at the gymnasium entrance, I hadn't seen Jack again, but from time to time, I still occasionally heard or saw some news about him. After all, I haven't deleted his contact, and it seems he hasn't blocked me from seeing his social media updates. Judging from his posts, Jack seems to be living quite comfortably. As a rich second-generation heir, he can always go abroad anyway. So the pressure of college entrance exams isn't that big for him. Every day, he casually attends classes and plays basketball, attends some parties in the evening, play games, and so on. It's practically a heavenly life. His brother even deliberately messages me every now and then. Sarah, really not coming out. Jack's a bit drunk today, giving you a chance to take him home. You're not really with that Frank, are you? Don't joke around. He's totally not your type. Let me tell you secretly, there are so many girls chasing Jack lately. Don't you dare let someone else take him. Hey, I'll send you the video. Someone actually forwarded the video to me. In a few seconds of footage, inside a bar's private room, you can indeed see a girl moving closer to Jack. Not sure if she's from our school, but her back view seems somewhat familiar. I ignored them. Just set all those people to do not disturb and stop replying. Until now, after school on campus, I didn't expect to see Jack again. It's so late. Did he go play basketball again? No, doesn't seem like it. He wasn't holding a basketball, and instead, there was a faint hint of alcohol lingering around him. The night breeze blew past. Jack took a step forward. When he looked at me, his brows were tightly furrowed. His voice was hoarse, and he sounded utterly exhausted when he spoke. Sarah. Can you stop fooling around? I dare say, I'm one of the people in the world who knows your personality best. You would never be interested in Frank. If this is just to make me jealous, there's really no need to waste his time, because I genuinely couldn't care less. Okay, Jack practically spat out the last sentence word by word. His expression was so resolute, as if he was certain that after hearing him say that, I would definitely be shocked, then heartbroken, distressed, panic-stricken, and filled with deep regret. I would run up to him and beg for reconciliation. Unfortunately, this time, he guessed wrong. Jack said he was one of the people who knew me best in the world. To some extent, this statement holds true. I'm vain, materialistic, worldly, and shallow. All these flaws Jack knows full well. He saw through my facade and struck directly at the deepest desires buried in my heart. It's like the taciturn doctor in Mom's novel, who knew full well the other person was foolish, frivolous, empty-headed, with vulgar and ordinary goals and ideals, yet still didn't walk away. It's also because of how well he understands me. Jack, who had guessed my thoughts correctly many times before, lost this time. I won't tell him about Frank's background. I just smiled faintly. But Jack, you've got it wrong. Frank and I are mutually committed, and it has nothing to do with you. As for breaking up, that's simply out of the question. Jack looked at me in disbelief. His hands clenched into fists, seemingly trembling slightly. Sarah, his eyes were red, staring at me unblinkingly and intensely. You should know, I don't just sweet-talk anyone. Don't regret it when I'm with someone else. As if to verify what Jack had said, indeed, a girl emerged from some corner, sneaking out quietly. She held her phone in one hand while glancing around cautiously. Only when she spotted Jack did she seem to let out a slight sigh of relief. She tiptoed to wave at him. Jack. The party's still going on. Why did you suddenly come to the school? And there are friends waiting. Are you going back? It's Heather. Her voice grew softer. She must have seen me and Frank. I finally remembered who that familiar-looking girl's back in the video forwarded by brother Jack was. It's just Heather. So this is how it feels. Lately, she's really been pursuing Jack. Seeing that I didn't speak, Jack walked over to Heather in a huff. He took her arm and glanced at me, gritting teeth. Heather. You like me, don't you? You've already confessed to me several times, using drunkenness and truth or dare as excuses. How about I say yes to you today? After a brief moment of blank expression, Heather was instantly overwhelmed with immense joy. She quickly ran over and tightly hugged Jack, burying her head in his chest. She seemed on the verge of tears. I felt a pang of envy for a while, then suddenly remembered something. Subconsciously, turned to look at Frank, found him standing still. Motionless, his expression was dazed, as if his soul had left his body. How did things with Sarah come to this point? Jack himself didn't understand. All he knew was that moment at the gymnasium entrance when he saw Sarah accept Frank's confession. His mind buzzed as if struck by a heavy hammer. His chest ached unbearably, making it almost impossible to breathe. How could this happen? This shouldn't be happening. He had been watching Sarah so closely, like some creepy guy, practically driving away all the men around her, but I've never seen her interact with Frank. Moreover, this top student is also from a poor family, famously struggling financially. He simply doesn't meet Sarah's standards for choosing a partner. For a moment, Jack felt his entire arm trembling. If his friend hadn't held him back, he truly didn't know what he might have done the next second. His buddy whispered to calm him down. "Jack, take it easy. Sarah must be bluffing. How could she possibly be genuinely interested in that guy surnamed Lopez? We bribed her classmates, and not long ago, we overheard her chatting about how she couldn't take it anymore and was planning to reconcile with you. Just wait a little longer. In a few days, she definitely won't be able to hold back." It seems it was Jack who couldn't hold back. More than a week passed, and there was no movement from Sarah's side. Moreover, rumors were spreading at school that Sarah and Frank were not only dating but also in a very sweet relationship. Jack could no longer sit still. He began frequently browsing the campus forum, or pretending to pass by their classroom nonchalantly, casually inquiring about their news. But everything he saw and heard only drove him increasingly mad. The two of them went to school together. Frank was explaining problems to Sarah until the school building closed. Sarah brought Frank a small cake she made herself. What's even more excessive, one day, he even saw it with his own eyes. Sarah fished out Frank's meal card from his desk drawer and topped it up with 100 or 200 yuan for him. He knew, although Sarah's family wasn't poor, due to the preference for sons over daughters, she had always wanted to save money to break free from this original environment. This is also one of the reasons why she pursued him, but the one who loves money the most materialistic. Why is she now willing to spend money on Frank? Could it be that, in Sarah's heart, Frank is more important than money? At this thought, Jack's heart trembled. How could he let this happen? That night, Jack drank heavily. Several of his brothers were there. Everyone knew he was in a bad mood, so they all made time to be with him. But halfway through, everyone suddenly realized there seemed to be one extra person at the gathering, Heather from Sarah's class next door. No one knew who brought her in, but she was surprisingly comfortable mingling, always trying to get close to Jack, whether it's cutting fruit, handing him warm water, or helping wipe his sweat and fan him. She acts just like a girlfriend. This kind of girl isn't new. But usually, Sarah would send them away. Now that Sarah isn't here, these people really don't know how to handle it. Someone muttered under their breath, "I think she looks decent enough. Why not let her give it a try?" Try what? Didn't you see how annoyed Jack is? He's already trying to avoid her. And isn't this person Frank's childhood sweetheart? How strange. Jack is truly annoying. He's not blind. Anyone can see what this girl means at a glance. Such an attentive demeanor clearly showed interest in him. He neither acknowledged nor rejected it. There was actually a hint of pettiness in it. If Sarah could date, then what was wrong with having another girl around him? But every time she thought about how she and Frank stayed in the classroom for so long after school, Jack's head started throbbing painfully again. He couldn't help but run out of the party and take a taxi to the school, until he saw Sarah standing beside Frank. Standing on her tiptoes trying to touch his lips, he could finally bear it no longer. He shouted her name at the top of his voice. "Sarah, after I get together with Heather, even if you beg me to come back, I won't return." After Jack and Heather left, seeing Frank's somewhat devastated expression, I couldn't help but pull him aside. "Are you okay, Sigh? After all, we were childhood sweethearts who grew up together. It's impossible to say there were no feelings, right?" Now seeing the girl throw herself into someone else's arms, he must feel uncomfortable inside. I can understand it all. It's just that there are still a few months left. I can only keep trying to strengthen my impression in Frank's mind, but I never expected. The next moment, Frank didn't mention Heather at all. After snapping back to reality, he glanced at me expressionlessly and said something I never anticipated. Square root of 2, The answer to that last question was square root of 2. I was completely stunned. What, square root of 2? I feel like I can't keep up with Frank's train of thought anymore. I'm just sitting here dumbfounded. Frank looked at me like this. He seemed helpless, slowly shaking his head. He let out a heavy sigh, his tone filled with anguish. Sarah, you still don't understand. You used the wrong derivation method for that sequence problem just now. Go over the usage of telescoping series again carefully. Didn't I just summarize the concepts you tend to confuse a few days ago? My eyes widened. She let out an involuntary gasp. Frank, were you thinking about these things just now? He tilted his head slightly and frowned at me. Or what? Sequences are your weakest topic. Didn't I tell you to review this problem again when we left the classroom? I gave Frank another once-over. Only then did I notice that besides carrying both our backpacks, he had also freed up one hand, while walking. I held my mistake notebook and flipped through it. He took a step forward, reached out and ruffled my hair. His tone softened a little. Was that your ex-boyfriend just now? I'm sorry, I didn't know your relationship or your wishes, so I didn't step in to stop him. If you allow it, next time he bothers you, I'll step in right away. And one more thing. A faint blush rose to Frank's cheeks. He rubbed his ears, looking somewhat embarrassed. Don't think I'm being too strict. I really want to improve your grades. Well, I suppose there's a bit of selfishness involved too. Didn't you say that since we're dating, we should spend more time together? Then after we finish the college entrance exams, we must go to the same university. I don't know why. When Frank seriously said he wanted me to go to the same university with him, my heart would skip a beat for a moment. Now, with his eyes curved into a smile, he looks youthful and reserved. It felt more like a pure, youthful confession than that day at the gymnasium entrance. I don't know if it was because of the tutoring from the top student, but my grades really started improving, and the progress was rapid. Before, I had to cram just to squeeze into the top 100, but this midterm exam, I actually made it into the top 30. The homeroom teacher even singled me out as an exemplary student, praising me extensively. Particular emphasis was placed on my achievements in mathematics and physics. I turned to look at Frank, as if sensing my gaze. He gave me a subtle wink in return. Everything seems to be moving in a positive direction, until, just at this moment, Frank's grandmother's condition suddenly worsened. After spending more time with Frank, from the barrage comments, I've gradually pieced together his current family situation. Frank was probably only about 3 or 4 years old when he was kidnapped. The kidnapper was mainly after money, so they didn't harm him much, but later, the police came knocking, and they had to flee in a hurry. He was thrown off the speeding off-road vehicle and left in a remote suburban area. He was picked up by a family also surnamed Lopez. They gave him the name Frank. Little Frank hit his head when he was thrown from the car, losing a lot of blood. Although he was quickly taken to the hospital, it still slightly affected his memory. He was very young at the time, coupled with panic and injury. As he grew up, he completely forgot about his original family. The only bit of luck was, the Lopez family who adopted him were good people. Although not wealthy, they took good care of him. They never treated him differently from their biological daughter just because he was adopted. Unfortunately, this peaceful and stable life didn't last long. Frank's adoptive father suddenly passed away due to an accident, while his adoptive mother is disabled and has limited working abilities. Their family lost their source of income, and life became increasingly difficult. They not only had to support 2 children's education but also pay for their grandmother's medical expenses. Now that the grandmother's condition has worsened, Frank hasn't been coming to school for several days. The phone calls wouldn't go through either. I only found out about his whereabouts through the bullet comments. Hey, is the male lead planning to drop out of school? Yeah. According to the original storyline, he'll start the withdrawal process in a few days, then go work in a factory to earn money for his grandmother's medical expenses. That's a bit of a shame. Although I was found by my biological parents a few months later, I still missed this year's college entrance exam and had to repeat my senior year. Most of the comments were indifferent in tone, seemingly unconcerned, indeed, to the people on the other side of the screen. We are merely dispensable digital imprints, whether alive or dead, happy or sad, just trivial matters for their amusement. Why bother? Clearly, I should have stayed out of it. After all, if Frank really dropped out, I still insisted on staying by his side, warming and encouraging him like a little son. that would surely make me appear even more precious, and make him rely on me even more. Unable to leave me, but, yet, the entire afternoon, I remained restless and uneasy, feeling both miserable and unwilling to accept it. Why must it come to such an ending? The moment the school bell rang, I still couldn't shake off this thought lingering in my mind. Unable to sit still any longer, I ran home like crazy. I found a recently published financial magazine on the bookshelf and flipped through it to locate the contact number for the Lopez group. Then, after endless waiting, transfers. More waiting and more transfers, I finally got through to their office secretary. "I'm sorry, but could you please inform your company's president, Mr. Lopez, I've found the child he lost over a decade ago, currently within the country. There's no need to record my name or contact details. If needed, you can leave me a message. I think I might still have some leads on the criminals from that kidnapping case years ago." The Lopez family flew back from Europe that very night. One afternoon a few days later, an extremely ostentatious Rolls-Royce Phantom parked downstairs at my place. When the driver in professional uniform jogged to open the car door for me and bowed at a perfect 90-degree angle to greet me, my family and all the neighbors around were shocked. They poked their heads out from their balconies, looking in my direction. My younger brother even stretched his arms over the railing, leaning down and shouting loudly below, "Mom, Dad, where is my sister going? Is she being taken home by a rich person? I want to go too. I want to get in that car. Can we buy one too?" The voices were so loud that others turned to look in their direction. My parents couldn't save face and dragged him back to the room by his arm. My gaze shifted from the balcony to the car. Under the starlit roof sat the person I knew so well, Frank. He pursed his lips, reached out his arm and pulled me to his side. "Sarah, sorry I haven't contacted you these days. But too many things have happened around me lately." The car drove forward, and he looked at me. His gaze was heavy, his voice weary and hoarse. "Did you know, I actually am not my parents' biological child. I am the only son of the president of the Lopez Group, who went missing due to a kidnapping case." I already knew this outcome. During these past few days, Mr. Lopez, the CEO of the Lopez family, had an authoritative institution issue a paternity test report. It confirmed Frank's identity, although I had anonymously provided them with clues at the time. Yet, as a gesture of gratitude, they still transferred $30 million to my account as a thank you through a message. The moment I received the payment, I knew Frank was going to reclaim his place in the wealthy family. The Lopez family operates with precision and efficiency. Within just a few days, they had investigated everything about Frank's life over the past decade. They knew the family that adopted him was upright and kind, and had not mistreated their son, so they paid to help connect with renowned overseas institutions and doctors to treat Frank's grandmother's illness. They also bought a large villa in the city center, moving his sister and mother there, providing for their future living expenses and tuition. Almost everyone who had helped their son was repaid. Those who had bullied Frank were now paid back in full. The true young master, who had suffered throughout his youth, was finally beginning his own genuine life. The scenery outside the car changed rapidly. In the end, the Rolls-Royce came to a stop in front of a renowned luxury boutique. Frank took my hand and walked inside. He pulled out a pre-ordered teardrop-shaped pink diamond and placed it in my hand. He seemed a little embarrassed again. A blush appeared on his cheeks. "I told my mom, said you're my girlfriend. I don't know how to chase girls. So she told me to give you jewelry. Sarah, I might be pretty busy lately. Got lots of relatives, elders, and board members to meet. Probably won't have free time until after the college entrance exams. Can you wait for me?" I examined the ring in my hand. Rich people's things are always so beautiful. Of course I'll wait. Of course. The news of Frank being recognized by a wealthy family quickly spread throughout the school. For several days in a row, the campus forum was filled with various gossip about him. Incidentally, even I became a hot topic of discussion. "Does anyone know that Sarah from class 2? I'm so jealous of her. She's about to become the young madam of a wealthy family." Tsk, you mean her? Let me tell you a secret. Actually, when Frank confessed to Sarah, it wasn't because he liked her. It was because of a truth or dare game. What? It was his childhood friend Heather who deliberately made him do it. He had no choice but to confess to Sarah. Oh my God, wasn't it rumored back then that Frank had a crush on her? But, Isn't Heather with Jack now? That Jack from class 5 comes from a powerful family too, so it's not a bad deal. You guys haven't heard, Heather and Jack broke up. I saw it with my own eyes. They were arguing really badly. Heather even slapped Jack, saying he was just using her to make someone else jealous and didn't care about her at all. Jack just stood there with his hands in his pockets, looking indifferent, and said, "Fine, let's break up then." Then the two of them broke up. I was also eager to hear the gossip. I hid under the covers, scrolling through the discussions with great interest. I really didn't expect that. Jack actually broke up with Heather, not long ago. He was practically showing off their relationship on social media every day. Either they were visiting amusement parks or attending concerts. He even pulled some strings to get me that limited edition anime badge I'd always wanted but couldn't find in stock. Gave it to Heather. To be honest, when I first saw that limited edition end up in someone else's hands, I felt a bit sour inside, but after a while, I saw Heather's comment below, "Thanks, Jack, but what is this? Why does the little figure on it look so ugly? Ha ha ha," I sighed. That strange feeling from before inexplicably faded, turning into speechlessness toward Jack. "He's just too weird, isn't he?" Judging from Heather's reply, she clearly has no interest in this badge at all. Looking back now, he probably never truly valued her. She slapped him and told him they were breaking up. It didn't seem entirely unreasonable, because the college entrance exams were just around the corner. Frank is currently so popular at school that the Lopez family, fearing it might affect him, decided not to let him continue attending. Instead, they hired several highly renowned tutors to provide him with private lessons tailored to his current level. I knew he was busy, so I didn't disturb him again. I also remembered his promise about going to a university, so in the following period, I devoted almost all my time to studying hard. Finally, in the last citywide mock exam before the college entrance exam, I made it into the top 10 of my grade. This was the best result I had achieved throughout all 3 years of high school. The homeroom teacher specifically called me into the office and talked with me for quite a while. He told me to guard against arrogance and impatience, maintain a steady mindset, and above all, not to get nervous. After leaving the office, I finally checked my phone. I noticed several new messages from Frank in the notifications. "Sarah, the exam results are out, right? I'm sure you did great." I thought about it, and there might still be a few concepts you're unclear about. I've put together a document and sent it to you. It also includes several major questions I came up with based on patterns from past college entrance exams. You can try them when you have time. Frank had just returned to the Lopez family, and the interpersonal dynamics alone were unimaginably complex, and he still took the time to organize study materials for me. Probably can't get more than a few hours of sleep a day. I stared at the chat box, typing and deleting. After all the edits, I ended up sending just one sentence. "Got it, don't worry, a university, absolutely no problem, a university, a top-tier prestigious institution. It's also the school Frank and I agreed to attend together. I won't let him down, nor will I let my own efforts go to waste. Truly worthy of being the genius who consistently tops the grade rankings." Frank actually predicted the key points of the final exam question in the college entrance exam. Combined with my last-minute cramming and diligent review before the exam, this time I performed almost exceptionally well. After the college entrance exam results were released, I directly entered the shielded ranking tier. Our homeroom teacher was practically overjoyed to the point of being speechless. Frank ranked first in the entire province. I once again created the myth of academic progress during senior year. For a while, he was surrounded by the media for daily interviews and became a regular guest on educational programs. As for me, after the college entrance exams, he also received calls from admissions teams of various top universities. I only responded to University A. After submitting my application with peace of mind, I turned off my phone and never bothered with anything else again. After all, there's already 30 million in the bank card, and there's also a diamond ring worth several million in hand. What does my birth family even count for? Would they dare to talk back to me every day? I just stay in my room, eating and drinking, playing games, reading comics, living a pretty carefree life, until an unexpected person came looking for me, Jack. Both Jack and Heather performed poorly in their college entrance exams. Jack still had his family to fall back on, planning to send him abroad to obtain a diploma from some obscure university. but his parents also made it clear, if he continues to be idle and skips classes every day in the coming years, there are also quite capable children among the other relatives, and it's not impossible for them to kick him out. With the company's declining performance in recent years, Mr. Jack is not one to show mercy. He might actually do it. Heather was admitted to a university in a remote province through the adjustment process. There are still gossip posts about her on the school forum. It said that after breaking up with Jack, she was seen waiting outside Frank's building again. However, thanks to the help of the Lopez group, now the entire Lopez family has moved to a luxury penthouse downtown, and no one even bothered to tell Heather the new address when they left. She waited all night, but no one came out, in the end. She could only slink away. Actually, originally, I don't have any issues with Heather, it's just that sometimes when she's pursuing someone, she always spreads rumors about other girls. Gradually, I lost interest in her, and now, Jack was wearing a beige t-shirt, the same one I gave him back then, standing at my doorstep. After a long pause, he let out a soft sigh, his tone heavy. Sarah, my flight leaves at 10 a.m. 3 days from now, heading to New York. My dad gave me strict orders to study hard and limited how often I can return home. I came to say goodbye. A breeze blew past, lifting the hem of his clothes. Jack lowered his head, his eyelashes trembling slightly. His voice was very, very low. I know about Frank's family situation. Maybe I should congratulate you, but I still can't bring myself to say it. Sarah, I just wanted to tell you, every day I spent with you in the past, I was truly happy and cherished every moment. There was never a single instant where I looked down on you for being materialistic, as you claimed, but those days can never come back, can they? Yes, if only he had said it sooner, that it was me he liked, that would be so nice. Although Frank and I can't see each other every day, we still chat on WeChat every night. He said he's going to attend a board meeting under his father's guidance, and after it's over, he can pretty much take a break, for the remaining days. He wants to stick with me every single day, planning a trip together to travel and meet family members. I calculated the time, and such conferences typically take about 4 to 5 days from preparation to execution. Perfect. There's a singer I've been following recently who's on a world tour. The final stop is in London, which coincides with their meeting time. Frank had never heard of this kind of internet celebrity anyway, nor was he interested. Then I'll just go watch it myself, on a whim. I booked a flight to the UK. The next morning, I took a taxi and headed straight to the airport. Just as I was about to reach the security checkpoint, I suddenly heard a familiar voice calling my name from behind. I turned around. It was actually Frank. He was wearing a white shirt, panting heavily as if he had been running intensely. Sweat trickled down his cheeks. His voice was still breathless as he spoke. Sarah, why are you leaving all of a sudden? I was a bit confused, took out my phone, and widened my eyes. Didn't I tell you? I'm going to. I just realized, what I originally typed was, I'm off to the UK, there's a concert, going to see my idol, so happy, but the second message didn't send due to poor internet connection, leaving only the first sentence, making it look like I was about to run away. Frank gave a pitiful, puppy-eyed look. He gritted his teeth, tears nearly falling from his eyes. I called you, but your phone was off too. Did you find out? Did you learn the truth about when I confessed to you? You're angry, aren't you? I apologize to you, Sarah. I was wrong back then. I shouldn't have done that. You can hit me, scold me, or take any revenge you want, but please don't leave me. Huh? What is Frank thinking about? I still have to go to college. How could I possibly run away? But I still held back my laughter and looked over with a serious expression. Do you realize you were wrong? So how are you going to make it up to me? Frank once again showed a look of confusion and helplessness. I crooked my finger at him. The boy followed like a big puppy. Then she touched the corner of his mouth and leaned close to his ear. Love me, be loyal to me, and obey me. Be good to me forever. Understand? After hearing the story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.